Welcome and thank you for joining us for the Artist Spotlight series brought to you by the Kalamazoo State Theater. Today, kind of have a little bit of a special event going on. Instead of performing music, we're going to be talking music. And I am here with Jordan Hamilton of the Last Gasp Collective. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, you guys have a big live stream coming up this Thursday at the Kalamazoo State Theater, live
Correct.
from the stage. What can you tell us about that and how you guys are feeling about performing?
I know the general sentiment in the band is everyone's excited. We've been having this on our radar for rehearsals for the past month or so, and we haven't played on the State Theater stage at all since forming as a band about 6 years ago. So actually, this may be the first time that some people may see the inside of it. And so I'm excited to get on that stage personally, but I feel that the rest of the band is also excited and wanting to put on a good show for everybody because we know the climate of the world right now, and we don't get opportunities to perform much often as a group nowadays. So it's just a general excitement to play some music for some people.
That's awesome. Now, have you been on the stage of the Kalamazoo State Theater before?
No, never.
So
Yeah,
this will be a
I've,
first for
I've
you.
right. Yeah, I've seen the show there. I saw Black Violin there like last year, but that
Yeah,
was the first time I went in, so it's great.
that's awesome. Well, we're
Yeah.
we're extremely excited to have you guys as well. And I think one of the things it's really interesting when I start listening to your music and I start reading about all the members in the band and the diversity that goes on there. How would you describe what you guys do, or how would you describe your music to somebody who had never heard you before?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough thing explaining your music to people because, like, what is music? It's just random sounds. So many sounds make it into the band, and it's I find a collection of like hip hop, soul, R&B, you know, a little bit of like there's a little bit of like a rock element too sometimes because of the energy. There's a I find like bands like the Internet or Phony People or August Green. Those are big influences for me when I listen to bands, but I hear those bands when I'm listening to Last Gasp, like a collection of those bands. And that's kind of how I like to describe it. Is mainly if I'm trying to do it short, like the elevator pitch, it's like a hip hop soul band. But it's
It's more than that, though, right?
yeah, it's hard to describe. Obviously, like all music is, but it's good music. We put our influences in our music, and that changes from month to month. So I hear that in the band as it evolves. The music changes, the music sort of expresses what people are inspired by at that moment. So it ebbs and flows. But right now, I would say primarily hip hop, soul, and then Tanking the Bangers, a mix between the Internet, Tanking the Bangers, August Green. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I think is interesting because again, it's hard to put label on it. And I agree with you. I don't like putting label on music. It's just
Right.
you like it, right?
This is
But I think
right.
if someone said to
Right.
you, "Yeah, I'm going to take you to go see this kind of cool hip hop R&B band," and they've got this killer cello player that
Yeah.
you don't often see or hear that, do you? A cello in hip hop?
No, no, I wish it wasn't so unique though, because I mean I feel like the cello can fit in that genre so well, especially when it's plugged in and you got some effects on it. Almost like having a second piano player because you can fit in all of those textures. I find that a lot of hip hop and R&B and music in general, you have your pads, your keyboards, your bass, your drum set, but then you always have stuff that's kind of in between, and the cello can serve that so well. Yeah, you don't see it. I don't see it a lot, but uh, yeah, yeah.
Well, what made you think to incorporate that? I mean, I guess you kind of described a little bit, finding that new layer that you could drop in, but um, when was the first time you said, "Man, I can make this work"?
I'm still trying to figure out, but I mean, I mostly just want to wanted to play. I wanted to play music that I enjoy, and so finding people that I can play with, and then adapting to the music that they're presenting or sharing. So, however I can serve the music, I just kind of wanted to jump in and play music that I enjoy. So that's kind of what got me in there. I'm still trying to find, exactly how I want my sound to sound like with other people and solo and all that stuff. So it'll probably never end, but I found that I really wanted to do it when I have found classical music to be something that I really enjoy, but not the end all be all. It's like, oh, there's so
Mhm.
much more music out there that I listen to. What? How can I play it?
So bringing it all together. Which, speaking of which, I mean, how is it bringing all of those different musical personalities together in that band that you guys have? What is that like to write together and perform together with all those different musical backgrounds and personalities coming together?
Yeah, that's also a process that's growing and changing. And I find like as a person, I don't mainly produce the band, like, record everybody, but I contribute to it for my role. Um, Contributing to the sounds, I find it interesting because Jay does a great job of sort of giving people space, and then he takes it and pieces it together like a collage. And that's how we did like one album, and then uh, and this album that's about to come out, we got together on a farm, and we all were just like in the same room. We jammed, and then we took pieces of it, and then um, sort of got our foundations for what songs we wanted to play. And we were like, "Oh, I really like to hear that. Oh, I really like that. Hey, you should try this line on this thing. Oh, okay, I'll try this on here. Ooh, that's cool." Or no one said anything and just let somebody get in their space. And I found that to be interesting because, you know, when you're writing by yourself, you're really sometimes just going with the flow with yourself, or just thinking about exactly how you want it to sound. But with this, it's like, well, what do you want it to sound like? Or what can I add to this? And then also we had overdubs too. So we got to take the tracks home, add stuff to it that we wanted to, and then piece it together. And then so that
That's
process changes to it. Right.
that's
I don't know if we'll continue to play it like that all the time, but I find that this band is just really, it's the creative process was part of the sound that we wanted. So maybe we might try and do it a different way another time.
right. No, that's super cool. So I know part of the VIP bundle for this live stream is a sneak preview of one of those songs. Um, can we expect to hear any of these songs live that you guys worked on?
It's a great question. I don't think we've been preparing anything. No, not we haven't been preparing anything for this set, but
Okay,
we have been practicing some of the new songs. But
gotcha.
for this set, we're going all from seen not heard.
Okay, but they will get that sneak preview download of that song ahead
Yeah,
of time. That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, one of the other
Yeah.
things with the VIP bundle is a chance to maybe be part of a video shoot with you guys for one of the songs off this new album. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
sounds
that'd be
exciting.
cool. I'm excited to Yeah, I'm excited to see which song we're gonna choose, or how we can incorporate one of the audience members. But that'd be fun.
It sounds like fun. And how many songs do you have recorded for the new album, or how many are you working on?
I think we recorded about 17, but
Wow,
we're narrowing it down to 12 songs, I believe,
wow,
somewhere around there. Yep, I could be
very
wrong on
nice,
that.
very nice. Um, did I mean you just described that you kind of recorded a little differently than the band had before, but from a writing standpoint, has 2020, either with the pandemic or some of the other social things that are going on, has any of that impacted your writing or how the band has written from a musical content or lyrical content?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it's hard not to let the world influence your writing or influence your mood, because I mean you're living in it. And I found that the oasis of this album, we wanted to sort of, we hadn't played together for a while, or got together to record because of quarantine protocols. And it was getting a time where, if you've been socially distancing, you can get together as a group. So we wanted to just have space on the open land, and hang out and write music. And I feel like that was a joyful experience. But there's a lot of pain and sorrow
Hmm.
in the world at that point. So I think that came out in some of the lyrics. People were going through transitions, and that came out in some of the lyrics. So some people were having great times, and that came out through the lyrics. And then we did a lot of collaborations with other artists, and I found that their verses are also kind of coming from personal perspectives and
Hmm.
working through some things. So I think that the writing has been influenced by today's times. A lot
Awesome.
of things to get off the chest.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Um, Well, real quickly, I again, I appreciate your time and thank you for dropping by. Could for those who don't aren't as familiar with the band, can you maybe tell? Is there a story behind how you guys got your name? Because I do think the collective part of it is just it really does sum you guys up. It's a collection of not only different musical perspectives and different personalities, probably in people, but to me, I saw it also as like a collective of music from around the world. But
Yeah.
how did you guys come up with the name?
I didn't come up with the name, so I'm not 100% sure I can tell the truth on this, but I've heard a thousand stories, to be honest, of where the name came from. One story was that the name came from Jay was looking through some essays of Martin Luther King and saw like "Last Gasp" in there somewhere, and I thought that was one of the origins of the name. Another origin of the name I heard was came from just the declaration, like, yo, this is something that I really want to do in my life. This is the last gas for me to follow my dreams and all that.
Nice.
Another story I heard was it was a branding thing. Like, he found a brand online, and it had last gasp on it, and he was like, yo, well, I like this graphic. I mean, how do I I guess I need to change the band name to use it. So then he changed the band name to Last Gasp. But one thing I do know is that when he started this, he wanted it to be a collection of different artists. We kind of started at open mics. So we got together and we would have people come up and sing, or, that's where I met Jay, and people come up, play cello, play guitar, saxophone, trumpet. And we wanted people not to only just come and um, play what the person is telling you to play, but contribute their own sound. And so we try and listen as much as possible. But we also try and discover the sound that we want to make together. And I think that was very intentional from Jay in terms of having a collection of sounds and a collection of music from the members that are in the group, because he's a producer and also is like, okay, I want to not use samples. How can I grab sounds from around Kalamazoo and
Hmm.
then chop them up, make some music out of it, and then we come together and play that for the community. So,
That's
I
such a
mean,
cool thing when you
that's
think
yeah,
about it. I mean, that really is a really cool thing when you
right. I
think about
mean,
it.
right. That's what's in my head, at least. I don't. You'll have to. You
Oh,
might
that's
get a
great.
different story from each member in the band, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's great. It almost has. I mean, when I hear it, it almost one it has a lot of mystery because you don't. Well, I've heard it maybe this or maybe that, but I think the other thing a lot of artists always talk about is they don't want to interpret their lyrics for people. And to me, now the band name almost has that impact, right? It could mean something
right.
different to different people, which is a really cool way of looking at it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
very cool.
And I mean, music. I grew up playing a lot of instrumental music, so it's like the interpretations are almost that's iconic, because I mean, you don't know what you're listening to, what it's about. You can hear what the artist says about it, but you don't have a lot of descriptions of what the artist or the composer said about that music at the time. So it's like, I'm leaving this up to the interpretation. It sounds like it's a traumatic thing, but like, what I'm thinking is traumatic because I heard this sound and I went through something traumatic, and now I wanted to be that, and it gives space for people to really get something from it, because the world is so vast in opinions and so diverse that if you leave it just open, some space for interpretation, and people can really feel like they can own it, and people can feel like they can take it further.
Right. No, that's super cool. I've never seeing it kind of done with the band name, and intentional or not, I'm kind of seeing that with the stories you told. So that's really cool. Um, Anything else before we say goodbye to everybody? About Thursday and the live stream.
I If you haven't seen us yet, come check us out. This would be a great show. If you can't make it, tell a friend, tell a family member. I'd be happy to play music for them. We have an album coming out, ODB, but we have some albums coming out. If you want to get ahead to the songs that we're gonna play, just check out the album Seen Not Heard, and you'll hear a great album. I'm really happy to be part of this band. Uh, I come from Maryland, and this is my 6th year being in Kalamazoo, and I feel like this is a collection of artists that really tries to help each other succeed in the music business, and genuinely want us to sound good for each other. So if you want to be a part of that, we'd be happy to play for you. um yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for listening to this interview.
And again, we have the live stream this Thursday, 7:30. If you can't check it out live, the link will be good for 30 days, so you can watch over and over and over, or you can catch it at your own convenience.
Oh, there
Um,
you go.
yeah. So,
There you
and
go.
as you mentioned, with the other album, that is part of the VIP bundle. You guys are doing autographed and actual physical um, copy. So if you go ahead and buy that VIP bundle, you'll get a sneak download, a sneak listen of one of the new tunes that they've got. Plus, you can check out their old album. So we'd love to have you on Thursday. And thanks again, Jordan Hamilton, for joining us. Last Gasp Collective this Thursday at 7:30.